Hey, you made it.
I did.
Fantastic.
How do I get rid of this white thing on my screen?
Oh, white thing.
I did this before last time. It
Oh,
says this meeting is being recorded. I think I
oh yeah,
pressed
just
it.
just agree to it or whatever it
Oh,
asks.
just pay, got it, right?
Yes, just hit got it.
There
That's
you
right.
go.
There
I've
you
only done
go.
this once, so I'm getting better. How are
That's
you?
right. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Well, we had a company show up unexpectedly from Calgary, so here I am in my basement.
Oh, you didn't go anywhere yet. Okay.
No, I'm gonna go tomorrow to Rock Creek now, so
Oh, okay. With your
yeah.
company?
No, he's leaving for Victoria tomorrow, so yeah.
Well, I remembered to hit record, so I did that already. Melina's
Oh,
now
perfect.
popping in here, so this is good. We got everybody. Oh, is she there? Hello, hello.
Hi there.
Hey, we've got everybody today. This is fantastic. And I was just telling Heidi, I remembered to hit record today. So,
We're doing
so
well.
yes, we're all good to go now. We're starting off. So, all right, let's just start with what's your biggest so we'll talk about like a win and something that you want to think you can do better moving forward based on the last 2 weeks. So who wants to go
Okay,
first?
I'll go first, I guess.
Okay, sounds good.
My winning thing is being able to eat enough food and not be hungry. I love not being hungry.
So that was a
It's,
thing before, you were always hungry?
yeah, and I just grabbed whatever, but at least if I plan ahead, then I know. But sometimes I don't eat enough, so then I'll have like a handful of almonds, a small handful of almonds, and that keeps me going until my next feeding. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to say it that way, but
Hey, that's okay. We can call them whatever we want. Meals, fueling times, feeding times,
yeah,
whatever. A, B, C, D, it doesn't matter what you call them,
yeah,
as long as you have them in there. And then that brings up a good point, because if we're looking at, okay, I didn't make it to my 3 hours. Why didn't I make it to my 3 hours? So take
right,
a look back at what you ate and go back over that. Okay, did I have my three components? Did I have a protein, a fat, and a carb? Okay, if the answer is yes, did I make sure that I had enough of it? Did I short myself? Right. The other
right,
thing that could be is that maybe you did an excessive amount of activity that day or in and around that time. And so you
right,
might just need to have more, or you needed to have that meal sooner because you burned off more.
right.
So there's all of those kinds of things. And sometimes people will find that they're okay. They seem like, oh, I'm okay, I'm okay. And then they get to about the afternoon point, and they're like, oh my gosh, why am I like super, super hungry right now? And because it was kind of cumulative, you might have shorted yourself a little bit on each meal.
Hmm.
And that sometimes is part of our mindset, because we come from that old dieting thing about, well, we have to eat less in order to get to our goals, right? Like I have to eat less or it's not going to happen. And so that's
Hmm.
not where we want to go. We want to always go with, I want to fuel the proteins, fats, and carbs, those three, in the right portions and the right frequency. And then we may even have to dial it up a little bit.
Hmm. How
Yeah.
come it is when all of a sudden I've eaten and then that hour's back, I don't know how much time. I go, oh my God, I'm not hungry. And then like 10 minutes later, I'm hungry. Is that all mindset or what?
Well, it depends on the hour of there. I mean, if you're really close
Yeah,
to it, it might just be that your body's getting in tune to, oh, my 3 hours is coming up soon. Hey, I managed to get that far, and I'm not really hungry yet. And then by the time now you're really close to that, the 3 hours is starting to twig.
right.
Yeah. So that's probably what
Okay.
that is. Okay, so
Hmm.
good win. Okay, Melina, what's your win? And then we'll come back and we'll do the improvements.
Hmm. I think, well, I found for the first, well, since we last talked, I guess, or yeah, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, whatever, that I did very well for the first week and a half, and then that's where my improvements need to come in. But I actually thought it was going very well, and even in the times that when we discussed the improvement part, I did well in those days as well, other than the things we'll talk about.
Okay.
So I'm happy with that. Like I was getting in the groove. I was learning how to do it, I guess. Um, yeah, and so I was happy with that. But then yes. So should I talk about the improvements at the same
Yeah,
time?
yeah,
It's
because
awkward. So
it
yes.
is, yeah, it's not, I mean, you don't have to exclude them. I just was thinking, okay, we'll just
Okay.
do the positive. Carry on.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about both at once because they're kind of connected. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
That's okay. No, we got to go there anyway.
So yeah, so things were going along very well, I guess, for the first week and 2 days, whatever. And I sort of, for lack of a better way to say it, practiced for the week before that when we weren't officially started. And then I had a couple of things in my life that happened, like significant events. One of my pet died, so that was a significant event, and that's totally screwed me. Totally, I wasn't thinking about anything related to any of this at that time because I wasn't. I was trying to, but then it wasn't on my mind at all. So I wasn't prepared for that. Let's just say that. And then my son had some minor surgery. So I wasn't really prepared for that. So it was like 3 or 4 days of boom, 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 right in a row. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I thought, okay, so I still continued to do that, but then I will admit that there were times in those days that I didn't do well, so that I fell off plan, if you will. So now I'm sort of like, okay, things are settling a bit, and now I'm at the point that I'm like, okay, let's get back in the groove. So I'm partially in the groove today again, but I'm not eating any bad stuff, if you will. Not that I eat a lot of bad stuff. I won't. It was just a little bit more like last night was my son's birthday. So I'm like, okay, we're past this moment in life now. Sorry, I'm babbling. I feel like I'm babbling.
No, that's okay.
You're not.
And then,
You're making
and so
sense.
now, okay, good. So then we're at the point now that I'm like, okay, I got to get back in the program, but I'm not kind of in the 3 hour groove. But I'm snacking, but not bad snacking. It's fruit, vegetable type snacking, like peppers and stuff. So I think I'm back onto and then tomorrow I'll be back on the 3 hour deal again. I
Okay.
have to get my mind into it again. I have to, not that it was off, but there were some significant things that happened that I'm like, seriously, how does this happen? But
You
nonetheless,
had some significant things
it
happen.
was like, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
you know when you go to bed and think, oh, I'm going to go to bed because it's going to be a better day tomorrow. And then, nope, it's not a better day.
And we can't,
Not
that's
funny, but it's funny. Yes.
yeah, right? It's just,
Well,
what else can you
anyway.
do? Is if you can giggle about it a little bit, at least it's kind of,
Yeah.
instead of
Anyway,
rather crying and screaming, right? But I
so
mean,
we'll have a better conversation next week. There you
yeah.
go.
Well, you just had some really big life things that just kind of came out of nowhere and hit you. And
3 or 4 days in a row, and I'm like, okay. So
yeah,
now we're better. We're moving forward
that's it.
again. So
And
yes,
this
there you
is
go.
a journey, and so that's okay. And I'm actually kind of glad that it happened while we're coaching, because this is a teachable moment, and we can't stop those life things from happening. Unfortunately, life's going to happen whenever it's going to happen. And just that when we realize now that can happen, and you're like, oh, it just kind of knocked me for a loop. So if we look back on that and say, okay, so not probably those same things aren't going to happen again, like those same things, but something else might happen. I mean, like Heidi today was supposed to go away, and all of a sudden people came from out of town. Probably wasn't ready to like cook dinner and have extra people there, and
No.
right, that happens. I had 2 sets of company here last week, one staying at my in-laws though, and one staying here. So then I was supposed to be going for all dinners at my mother-in-law's, and then but I had people staying here, so then I was right. So life just happens. And we have to
It
learn
does,
how
yeah.
to do that. And so we're on this journey. And years ago, we drove with our tent trailer, took our kids down to Disneyland. And as we're going along, we did hit road construction. We didn't turn around and come back, right? We're like, oh no, road construction. We're not going to get there. We have to go home. No, it took us a little bit longer to get where we were going. We just followed the detours, and we come out back on the same highway eventually. And then we kept going. And that's like this. So you had a detour, and you just went off track. And sometimes we hit little speed bumps. Sometimes we hit like a little bit of road construction. Sometimes we hit an entire bridge washout, and we have to go all the way through the next town. And that's probably what you felt like these last 3 days, is like it was an entire washout, and you're like, what the heck is going on? And that's okay, because now you're back on track. You didn't throw in the towel and go, nope, I can't even do this because this happened. No, you just recognize that, hey, I didn't do as well as I wanted to on those 3 days or 4 days. I get it. Okay. And then we're back on track, because that's not going to ruin your progress. What's going to ruin your progress is just throwing in that towel and not doing it. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so that's all, you know, that you just get right back on track and you're doing the best you can. And in those moments, you're doing the same thing. So sometimes people think we have these tragedies, especially when they first start out, they're thinking, "Oh, I'm supposed to be eating super clean and I'm supposed to be having all of this, and this is a bad food." Let's just dispel that right now. There's no bad foods. There are foods that are healthier for you than others, but we don't want to have that mindset that this is bad and this is good, because then we have guilt associated with the bad foods. Right.
I
And we
hate
don't,
that guilt thing.
yes, we don't, no,
Yeah.
don't feel guilty about eating, because those things are going to happen. Like you're having a birthday party and you have company over. And so those are called celebration meals when we go off plan. There's ways to stay as on plan as you can when you're
Mhm.
first starting out, so that you can remain clean, you know, as clean as possible. But if something sabotages you upside the head, like you're in the hospital or something, you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to eat something and there's only the hospital cafeteria. What do I do? Maybe they have a protein bar in the vending machine. Okay, it'll do, you know, whatever. And that's kind of how we have to roll. And then we're back to how we would prefer to do it when the storm settles, you know?
That makes sense. Yeah.
I learned something on one of the blogs that
Okay.
it's better to eat a meal than skip a meal.
Yes, it is.
Hmm.
That's the rule number one. Eat something every 3 hours. If it's not balanced, okay. If you're just eating a handful of carrots, because that's all you have like with you at the moment, okay. You know,
It's
if you're,
better than nothing because then
it's
your
better
blood
than
sugar
nothing.
doesn't drop, right?
Yes, it helps it to keep it up for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It won't keep it up as long when you're missing all those
No.
things. You're missing, but it's better than not eating, right? Because then your blood sugar tanks, you get the hangries and it's all nasty, and then your body's burning muscle, and that makes you going to kind of go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
So
learning another thing is when you don't eat for a while and you go and eat, it takes about 20 minutes for that to get into your system. See, I'm learning stuff.
yes, and this is the whole
So
reason why we
I
have
was
a
eating,
data bank of
yeah,
stuff.
I was eating, and then I thought, well, I'm still hungry, but no, I'm going to wait that 20 minutes, and I was okay.
Yeah.
So that
Hmm.
was cool.
Yeah, and that usually happens when we waited a little bit too long to fuel in the first place, because then the blood sugar is dropping and it's like, the ghrelin's going like crazy wanting us to eat. So there's ghrelin and leptin, right? The ghrelin is like the gremlins, it makes you want to eat. The leptin's like, okay, let's stop now, we've had enough. But it sometimes doesn't kick in right away when our blood sugar's been super low, right? It's like it's got confused and the ghrelin guy's taken over. And so leptin's got to fight his way back in to go, wait a second, we're done. So if you give that time like you did, then it gives everything a chance to settle and go, oh, okay, yeah, I do have enough here. Whew, good. Hormones are balanced, blood sugar stable, and off you go again.
Makes sense.
Just the
Very,
way it
so it's so true. That was the first time that happened. So I was so hungry this morning, and then I ate too late, and
Yeah.
then I did eat, waited the 20 minutes, and then I was like, oh God, I don't have that hungry feeling.
Yeah, it's kind of satisfying, isn't it, to know that, hey, I've got some control here. I now
Yes, it
know
was.
what to do, so that the food is not controlling me, the hormones are not controlling me. I'm
Mhm,
choosing, and so I may have chosen to eat a little bit later, but hey, I know what to do with that now,
mhm.
right?
Makes
So
sense.
Yes.
good job. Good job, ladies. This is good stuff.
It's that 1% every day that just is, it doesn't put so much pressure on you. And I
Mhm.
love the way you put, you get off the road, but you do come back to the highway and you keep going. You don't
Yeah,
give up.
no. Yeah, as long as
I
you
like
don't
that.
give up.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's the tortoise and the hare analogy. You know, that tortoise thought he was all that in a bag of chips and he went like crazy, and then kind of petered out at the end, stopped and waited, and then he didn't end up making it over the finish line.
Yeah.
So that's not what I want for any of my people, is to like just hang on by your fingernails and go like crazy just so you can maybe lose that X amount of weight that you had in your head that you wanted to lose. But then at the end of that, you're like, okay, I'm done. No. It's health. We're not done. We're
Mhm.
never done until we're finished on this planet. All right. So I want you to have that in your mindset, that this is the beginning. This is the stepping stone to the rest of your healthy life. And as you keep learning and building and absorbing the content, reading, learning, asking questions, participating, all of that kind of stuff, you're going to learn a whole bunch of stuff. So it's like a layers of an onion, you know, there's all those things that are important in there. And as we keep layering them on, you know, you have more and more tools in your toolbox as you go through life.
Learning quite a bit through Mark's videos on Mondays.
Sorry, say that again.
We're learning quite a bit on Mark and Carrie's videos on Monday.
Monday coachings, yeah, those are really good.
I can't actually always watch them on Mondays, but you can always watch them whenever you have time.
That's right.
Where are these ones? Sorry.
You have to go into the PCF3 and then it's the meetings.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh,
Can't remember how to get there.
No problem.
Hang on, just let me see if I can. Oh, hang on, it just logged me out. Hang on, I'll log back in and see if I can show you. Okay. So
and you can do those whenever you want, right?
That's right.
That.
Absolutely.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so I'm going to show you here. So when you log into your PFC3 library, right, there's your 100 days where you're going for every day. That's the second phase, so you're not quite there yet, but that's okay. And here's the club, so live coaching calls, tips and tricks.
Okay.
Training. So this one's an affiliate training, so that's not for you guys. This is my back office. But you'll have the PFC3 club in yours, and it will have all those live trainings in there that you can go in, all the coaching ones. Because I mean, this is like a global movement, and so how many, like, there's people from all different countries. Not everybody can log in at 5 o'clock a Monday.
Makes sense.
Right? It's so that's another reason why the portal, why Facebook, why all of these things, they're good, like they're a good storage bank for people. So you can go back. Plus,
and they're only half an hour long.
Yeah. And plus, which sometimes you might find something that's really good and then you want to go back and listen to it again.
Yes.
Right? Because sometimes we learn extra, or you get interrupted or whatever. I love to listen to things when I'm working out at the gym, or if I have a lot of errands to do, I'll set my phone and turn it on, like with the audio, like throw it on my seat or log it into the Bluetooth in my car and just listen as I'm driving around town doing my stuff. And
I just started that too.
Did you?
when I'm coming from home from work, instead of listening to the radio, I just throw that on. I know it's going to take me half an hour to get to the beach.
There you go.
And it's
the
nice.
Unproductive time that we could be used spending, you know, doing like our homework or stuff that's interesting to us or stuff that we want to learn about. And we can, fill our brains with the good stuff, because there's not really much on the radio anyway. Nobody wins those contests. I don't know.
I never remember the phone number, so.
Right? Years and years ago, we had the dialer phones. You know, remember the rotary dial phone? We're old enough for that. My mom used to be so lucky at that stuff. She went to those backyard barbecue things where they actually gave you the barbecue, and one of them, they brought a hot tub for the weekend.
Oh, nice.
I know. Her and her friend were like super lucky with all of those things. Me, not so much. So I just prefer to use it as a university on wheels when I'm out and about and I'm listening to it. So it's a good way to do that. Okay, any other thoughts that came to you ladies this week?
I wish I could decide on more variety of food. I tend to be eating the same thing. I'm okay with that right now, but I don't want to get food boredom, like you said. I eat a lot of apples. I do have a question about apples. Okay. Why is it a green apple?
Green are a little less sugar content.
That's what I was thinking. Okay. Like I eat a lot of cantaloupe and nut butter and half a banana and lots of carrots. I'm gonna turn orange pretty soon. I don't like peppers.
Carrots, right?
Yeah, a lot of cantaloupe and avocado and and a lot of chicken. So I want to try to change it up a little bit more. I want to maybe go get some salmon or make a salad. I've got my big orange for my citrus recipe that you have.
Yeah.
So and I find eating healthy is really expensive.
Here's a thought. If you think that, take a look, just go to your pantry, your fridge, your freezer, take a look at all of the, how do I put it? Extraneous foods, extra things that we've purchased that we probably aren't going to eat or don't use anymore, or like just the stuff. There's chips, there's crackers, there's cereal, there's condiments, there's probably a zillion condiments. You know, those things can get out of control, but you know what I mean? Like take a look and go, oh, and then do a quick little tally in your head of how much that is. And then instead of repurchasing those, put that towards your fresh fruits and veggies, right?
Mhm.
And your
Okay.
meats and things like that. If you can't afford to do organic with everything, think about this and think about the ones that have their own skins. You can kind of peel off the junk, right?
Right.
If you're going to eat it, probably best if you could get it organic. Now, if you can't get any of your produce organic, okay, just buy the best quality you can and see if you can do your meats organic or grass-fed. Like
Okay.
pick something, because think about this. You are what you eat, but you are what your food eats.
Right.
So if your food is eating things that you wouldn't want to put in your mouth, and then it's growing with all that in its muscle and its meat, then there's even more than the spray that goes on your veg, right?
That's kind of common sense, but you don't really think about
But
it.
we don't think about that. Well, I grew up on a farm, so there was none of that. Nobody thought about that, any of that, because we had our own. Like my dad hunted and we had our own beef and we had our own garden, and good
Right.
Lord, we canned everything under the sun. There was 52 quarts of everything we did in my house every year. And we had no air
Yeah.
conditioning. Let me tell you, it was hot.
I don't have the air conditioning right now. That's probably why I'm wiping my forehead. I'm really,
geez. It's hot out there today. Holy cow.
it is.
Yeah. So making sure you're staying hydrated too, and then get in the habit of that like extra, because as we head into winter later, that tends to kind of fall by the wayside, and people seem to think that, oh, I needed more in the summer. I don't need as much in the winter is the kind of the mindset. No. We still need to be hydrated. We just don't seem to feel the heat in our body as much as the weather gets colder, but we still need it, right? Because
Mhm.
it's present in every function of our body, in every organ, in every system, that every brain, every thought, and so if we're a quart low, it's kind of like, especially for your brain, it's kind of like the power line is down. If it was over a lake, that current would be going like this, right? But if there's little puddles here and there, all you see is a spark, bzz, and then it tries to jump, bzz, tries to jump, right? If you're a quart low, that's what's happening up here. So if you're having like brain fog or having trouble concentrating or anything like that, it's the puddle jumping, it's not the lake.
I have to change everything that I drink now, though. I started drinking bubbly because people told me it made me full, but
Mhm.
that's actually inflammation.
Mhm.
And flavored Nestle grape water. I
Mm.
looked at the ingredients. There's no sugar in there. There's no aspartame in there. I don't know what they put in there, but I'm starting to think I have to start drinking something else. My water, is a boil advisory, and it's been like that for 15 years up where I am. So I'm having a hard time. I don't even know what to drink.
Right.
I'm waiting for my protein shakes. That's what I'm waiting
There
for.
you
But
go. Yes. Well, I helped you order that today, so they should be, what's today, Tuesday? Hopefully by Friday. If
yeah,
not, by
so I
Monday.
guess I'm just gonna have to apply plain bottled water, really. And you can
Yeah,
always put cucumber or raspberries or
yes.
whatever in there.
If you can't drink your water, then you're gonna have to purchase it. Like, I mean, seriously, you can't just
Yeah.
not drink it because right? You have to get some water. And then yeah, cucumber and mint is a nice combination. Frozen berries in there, a nice combination. If you want to make it like a juice or something, you can blend up. My husband does this. He blends up some frozen berries, puts it in like a bullet cup or shake cup that you'd make a protein shake with. Put in your water and a little bit of stevia. And so you can put drops or get the natural stevia and put your frozen berries, whatever flavor you like, in there. And then you just blast it up. And
Hmm.
it's quite refreshing.
That's what I can do with all my frozen fruit in my freezer.
Yeah, just put a little bit in there because you don't want to fill it and waste
Yeah.
it and do a whole bunch, but you just need a little bit to blast up to get that flavor.
Hmm.
And it's way better than using that Mio stuff and all of those other things.
Okay, that's awesome. Awesome.
Because if you don't know the source and something says natural flavor, it did actually come from a real food, but there's no guidelines on what can be done after that. So they can
Right.
literally transform it, do whatever the heck they want with it, and still call it a natural flavor.
Okay. Awesome idea. Nice. Okay.
Kind of terrible. So yeah, so there you go for the water. What else was I gonna say on that? I think that was it. Melina, did you have something?
No, I'm good. No, I think it's been pretty good, really. I mean, optimally, I mean, I did have a lot of good wins, I think, and that's good.
Yeah,
Other
considering
than
your
those,
week, oh my gosh. Yeah, you just rocked it.
but other than that, I mean, the first week we started, I worked like 7 days in a row, and I was able to maintain my maintain. For the most part, I did pretty good. I even ate every 3 hours for the most part at work, which is pretty good. So, and I didn't come home after my shifts and gorge myself, if you will. So that sounds really bad, but you know, after not eating for most of a 12-hour shift, sometimes you just come home and eat.
Eat whatever you find.
Well,
Wherever
no,
you
that
can find.
doesn't sound bad. That
So-
sounds good because that tells me that what you were doing for the whole day before you got home was exactly what your body needed because you came in
Yeah.
and didn't feel ravenous. So
So
yeah,
yeah,
you did
so
great.
it's been some good wins. So now I'm, you know, ready for the next week.
Good. Okay. Oh, food boredom. That's what I was going to come back to. So food boredom. So take a, your grocery list, what you're going to have and think like, so your clean food list, right? Take that and think, I want to pick 3 to 5 proteins that are my favorites, 3 to 5 fats, and about 8 to 10 carbs. See if you can really elaborate on the carbs because
Okay.
we eat with our eyes and there's all different colors. So now when you go to the grocery store, write that down or take a screenshot of it and go, okay, I had those ones last time. I'm going to try these ones. Or I'm going to keep some of these, but I'm going to swap out a few. So then you may actually even make the same sort of recipes, but now you're going to have a different color, a different texture, a different taste. And so it's an entirely different meal, but you still have your PFCs.
That makes
Yes.
sense.
Yeah,
I have a couple questions. Is that
Yep.
okay?
of course.
When you're getting turkey, I see that, are you getting it from the deli? Like that, is that not processed meat?
Yes, it's processed meat. So there's different
Do you get
qualities of that.
smoked or cooked or?
If you're getting it from a place like a butcher shop, you know what I mean? Like I go to Johnny's Meats here around. I still don't buy I still don't buy the deli meats, but they do have gluten-free. And you can, at least when you're at a meat shop, you can ask, hey, how much sodium is in this? Do you have gluten in here? Do you put nitrites in here? Like you can ask them. You can't ask them if you're
I
at the
I
store.
wouldn't know what questions to ask, so
Yeah.
those would be 3.
So yeah, those are what you want to know, if there's nitrites in it and sulfites and things like that, if it's loaded with salt and if it's gluten-free. So
Okay.
it's just going to be a lower quality protein. So if you need something quick on the go, you're going to get like the roasted turkey breast or the whatever baked, right? And so ask them, hey, is this pressed all together with stuff or is this the whole breast?
Right,
You know,
okay,
and then you
Okay.
know it's like what you made at home, but they have a nicer machine to slice it.
right,
Then it becomes convenient, right?
okay. And my
Okay.
other question was about eggs.
Okay.
It always says egg whites, but on one of the grab and snack, whatever those are called, that you're using the egg yolks for your fat.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that probably has a lot of cholesterol in it, and that's why you're doing more of the egg whites.
Well, the egg whites for the beginning for your jump start is we're pulling out the saturated fats, and so that is why there's
Okay.
egg whites listed. If you go ahead and have an egg yolk, then consider it your fat. So your
Okay.
one yolk, one large or extra large yolk is perfect. If you have small eggs, have 2 or whatever. It's not like an exact science, right? But there you go. I
Right.
wouldn't go more than 2, and then but you're gonna need some extra whites. So if you have them all hard boiled, if you have a dog, they're gonna love you because you can give them the extra, or you could save it and crumble it on a salad later in the day as like kind of like a chef salad thing for your
Okay.
fat.
And I did buy the egg white carton.
Yeah,
I did try
that
the
too.
omelet, but honestly, I had to put a little bit of salt on there. I know
For
I
what?
shouldn't have. But I had to put a little bit more salt on there. Like I did the egg whites in the
Oh,
microwave
yeah.
with the tomatoes, and I think I put some peppers in there.
Mhm.
And it needed, I wanted to put cheese on there, but I didn't.
Get some nutritional yeast.
And you know what? I was reading on that, and that's interesting. They actually said it tastes good.
It does taste good. I made a cheesy walnut pesto with it a couple of weeks ago. It was just on the PFC3. It's probably in the
Yes, I
recipe
saw
thing.
that.
Yeah. It was so good. I tell you, it's the best pesto recipe I've had. I was licking the spatula when I was done.
And where do you buy that from?
I made it. It's so easy.
No,
Oh,
but
what
the
do you mean
yeast,
you can just buy it in the bulk section, like at Nature's Fair, or you can
really?
buy it. Oh yeah. It just looks like it looks like Parmesan cheese, kind of like flaky,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
yellow, and you don't need very much. And like you can sprinkle it on if you make like I'll do a spaghetti squash pasta. And my husband still likes to have his cheese. Too much dairy doesn't do well with me, right?
Yeah.
So I love spaghetti squash. I really do love it as my pasta. And then I make the sauce, and then I'll sprinkle nutritional yeast on if I have it in the house. If I don't, I'll put a sprig of basil or something in there.
Yeah.
But when you do those extra little things like that, you look at your plate and go, oh, I'm not missing anything. It's like
Yes.
you've got all the bits and bobs, and when you eat with your eyes, if that's you, then that's what you need. Other times, like for myself, I don't really care half the time. Like today, I stood at my island and ate like half a hamburger with some carrot sticks and stuff, because I was just in a hurry and I had to feed the dog and whatever. I was like, oh, I have this, fine. I'll eat the rest of my burger from yesterday, and that was it. So
But at least we still think about our 3 things that we're supposed to eat, right?
that's right. That's
Mhm.
exactly it. It doesn't have to look beautiful if you don't care about it. It doesn't have to, as long as you're satisfying the proteins, fats, and carbs, you can eat dinner at breakfast at dinner, lunch for your snack time. I don't care what you call them either. You're right. You just need to have the components. Your body doesn't know what time of day it is for whatever meal you want to call it, right? It's just a fueling time. It's just that it's time for more fuel. And so as long as you give it those components, it's a happy camper.
Mhm. But if you don't, one day I went out, we were shopping till 9 o'clock, and we grabbed a Big Mac. I was so bloated and so ucky
Yeah.
that I'm kind of glad I did that, because I know what that feeling is. And I'm like, that was disgusting. It didn't even taste good. It was just a quick thing. And I learned that I have to have things, grab and goes.
Yep.
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 And do you want like chicken pepperoni or turkey, as long as it's grass fed, like the pepperoni, or does it have to be, can it be beef though?
Pardon me?
Or should it be beef, or should it not be beef? It should be
Well,
chicken or turkey?
usually the beef ones have too much fat in them.
Yes.
So I'll usually get the turkey if I'm going to get that. But I mean, take a look. You want to have it so that your serving is going to have, somewhere 10 grams or less per serving of
Oh,
fat.
okay.
But then you want to also have a decent amount of protein. So if your one pepperoni stick is telling you that it has 10 grams of fat, but only maybe like 10 grams of protein as well too, then you're like, okay, that's a half amount of my protein, but that's all of my fat. So,
Right. Okay.
maybe I
That's a
want,
good way to look at it.
it's
Yeah.
still not a bad choice. Like it's still not a horrible choice. Okay. Cause you still got a protein and a fat, throw a piece of fruit or veg with it. And you're doing way better than running through McDonald's.
Yeah. But I mean, I can go get turkey pepperoni too. Right.
You can. Yeah, just watching those processed things, because they're usually a lot higher in salt. So take note that if you're feeling a little bloaty, especially in the heat and stuff, that's where, where it can show up. So just making sure to have lots of water, and then not having that like several times a day. Make it as a one-timer, and then something else is a one-timer, and then something else, you know what I mean? So that you're trying to have as many clean foods as possible. But hey, if I need that quick one, like you said, the MO is that we always eat.
I don't like eating the same thing more than once a day.
Okay,
I'm
good.
trying to make it variety.
Yeah, and so that's good. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Melina, did you have any closing thoughts here before we hang up?
No, not really. It was good. Good conversation. Yeah, I think I'm just planning on getting back on. I'm a pretty plain eater, really. I just kind of mix and match a few things here and there, but yeah, I think eventually I might get bored. So I did like to think about it that way. So
Good.
yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to preface that, because sometimes we think we won't get bored, and then we get to that spot one day and go, oh. So
Exactly.
at least if you have it in the back of your mind, you can kind of preempt, right? And that's a lot of what we're doing here, is preempting or troubleshooting from when issues like this week has happened. Then we're going to go, okay, I'm going to look back on that and say, what would I have liked to have done, or what would I like to have in my arsenal for next time in case, life happens. Maybe I'll just make sure that I stock up on a few XYZs so that I can, if I have a whack of protein bars, at least I might have a couple of them in a day, but at least I won't skip meals,
Yeah, that makes sense.
something like that. So yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna cook one of your recipes once a week.
Okay. I like that.
Just for the first couple weeks, because I'm not really a good cooker, but I'm learning a lot more about the spices that use. I know nothing about spices, but that can make food taste good instead of putting salt in there.
Yep. Herbs and
So
spices.
I'm hoping to learn Yeah, I checked my little spice thing that's been there for a long time. And to see what I have, like your rosemary and your thyme and
Yeah.
yeah, so that's gonna be fun to work with.
Good. Okay. Well, I want you to, so here's
Right.
that. If you're gonna do that, I would like you to send me a picture and a comment about how it turned out, like text it
Okay.
to me or something. Cause I want to know, as soon as you're not on Facebook, send that to me and let me know how it goes. Okay?
Okay,
Okay, so
sure.
Melina, what's your goal this week? Heidi's goal is to cook one meal every week coming up. So what's yours?
Oh gosh, what is my goal, my official goal this week? Try to adhere to the 3 hours, I guess, every 3 hours. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Perfect.
maybe I'll try one of the recipes as well. But yes, we'll try to make sure we stick to the 3 hour rules.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah,
Right. Okay,
it's
perfect.
a
So
good
that'll
idea. I never thought of that. Yes, I guess I have so many goals, but I never thought of a particular one that I will make sure I stick to. So we'll think
yeah,
about
so
that.
let's try and do that every week. Try and think about,
Okay.
I wanna dovetail into a goal. And if you didn't hit your goal last time, it's not a loss. It's okay, it just needs more time. So I'm reinstating that goal moving forward for next week. Okay.
Okay.
Because we're not gonna build unless we make sure we have it down pat and then we add another one. That's how we build layers that stick.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
So don't
Awesome.
overwhelm yourselves. Okay. All right. Well, we're done. I'm gonna hit stop on the recording.